If you keep polishing, tweaking, second guessing, and calling it high standards, this video is for you. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why perfectionism isn't making your business better. It's quietly stopping you from existing online. I'm going to share the 80% rule to help you make faster decisions, and more importantly, I'm going to tell you why your inner boardroom is currently voting against your success. Let's be honest, a lot of perfectionism in business is just fear wearing a really convincing blazer. It feels like excellent, but it functions like a handbrake. In my last video, we talked about the physical freeze response, that tight chest you get when you're about to post. We covered how to use box breathing and the 90-second reset to signal safety to your brain. But today, we're going deeper. We're going to talk about why that panic exists in the first place, especially for women like us. We're going to look at the good girl conditioning that makes visibility feel like a life or death risk. Hi, I'm Hayley. I'm a former accountant and the eldest daughter in a Catholic family. If you know, you know. I was raised to carry the weight, hit the gold standard, and never make a visible mistake. I was the one who made sure everyone else was okay, the one who followed the rules to the letter, and the one who believed my value was tied to being flawless. When I started my online business, that good girl conditioning didn't just disappear. It followed me right into my home office. I remember sitting there, ready to invite people into my new membership. The sales page was done, the offer was solid, but I didn't launch it. Not because the work wasn't ready, but because Perfect Paula kept showing up in my ear. She's that voice that told me needs one more tweak. She told me the font isn't quite right, or the wording of the third bullet point might be misunderstood. I listened to her for a long time, paralysed by the fears being seen as unprofessional or not enough. When I realised that, everything changed. Perfect Paula doesn't pay my bills. Momentum does. Perfectionism doesn't always look like a dramatic breakdown. Sometimes it looks productive. It disguises itself as work. It looks like rewriting your website headline for the 12th time. It looks like spending 3 hours picking brand colours while your offer still isn't live. It looks like saying, I'm just tightening things up, while your launch date quietly dies in the corner. Healthy standards say, let's make this clear and useful. Perfectionism says, if this isn't flawless, people will judge me. In my world, I call this the invisible boardroom. You aren't just posting for your audience. You're performing for a group of people in your head. Past bosses, judgmental neighbours, that perfect creator you follow on Instagram, or even your old school teachers. You are letting this invisible committee outvote your future. You're waiting for their approval before you allow yourself to be seen. Perfectionism feels responsible, but in business, it acts like a thief. It steals your speed, your reps, and ultimately your sales. Think about it. Every extra week spent tweaking something that was already good enough is a week you didn't test your idea, you didn't learn from real feedback, and you didn't earn any money. You didn't learn by thinking longer. You learn by shipping. You learn by seeing what happens and adjusting in real time. The person who launches the decent version and improves on it based on actual customer numbers will always beat the person who keeps perfecting version 1 in private. When you stay in polishing mode, you're essentially saying that your comfort, avoiding judgment, is more important than the person you are trying to help. Perfectionism is, quite literally, a hidden bottleneck in your business. So, let's talk about the fix, the 80% rule. This means that if something is 80% ready, clear and useful, you move it forward. I'm not talking about being reckless or sloppy. I'm talking about being ready enough. At 80%, your message is clear. At 80%, your offer can solve a problem for someone. The final 20% is where we lose days, weeks, and months fixing tiny things that 99% of your customers will never notice. They don't care about the perfect hex code. They care if you can help them. In this business, done and tested beats perfect and hidden every single day. Read that again. If you wait for 100%, you're waiting for a moment that doesn't exist. Even the most polished, famous experts have bloopers and mistakes. They just don't let those mistakes stop them from showing up. So, how do we actually start moving when our brain is screaming us to stay safe? We have to build evidence. Perfectionism runs on feelings. We need to run on facts. I teach my members a tool called the 60-second win scan. At the end of every day, instead of focusing on the 20% you didn't finish, or the things Perfect Paula told you were wrong, scan for 3 things that went even slightly right. Did you post that video even though you felt awkward? That's a win. Did you reply to that scary DM from a potential client? That's a win. Did you define your minimal viable post and actually hit publish? That's a massive win. When you intentionally see your wins, you stop seeing yourself as someone who can't follow through and start seeing yourself as a CEO who takes action. You are retraining your brain to value momentum over perfection. Perfectionism feels safe, but it keeps you small. If you never put your work out there, you never have to face the truth of how people respond, which feels safe. But you also never give yourself the chance to be surprised by how much people actually need what you have to offer.
I'm looking at my Facebook
You are allowed
account
to build
now,
while you're still
and
learning.
I can't see where
You're
the
allowed
village
to be
hall
seen
is.
before
I'm linked to
you
my
feel
Facebook
fully
accounts,
ready.
my Instagrams.
Your homework. Pick one thing you've been
But
sitting on
there's
this
nothing
week.
there for
The post, the email, the offer. Ask, is this 80% good enough to help one person? If the answer is yes, your only job is to press publish. And if this visibility freeze is where you keep getting stuck, I've created a space especially for you. It's called the Calm Consistency Club on School. It's a community for midlife mums where we use tools like the imposter decoder to quiet the boardroom and actually get your business moving without the burnout. Inside, you'll get simple weekly rhythms to keep you moving. Tiny action prompts so you're never stuck staring at a blank screen again. A space to co-work and actually follow through. The link is in the description. Come join us. Drop a comment below with the words, I'm shipping it. Name that one thing you've been polishing for too long. Let's get it out of draft mode and into the world. I'm Hayley, and I'll see you in the next video or inside the club.